Hey guys, Scott here. Today I want to talk about the new Buckle Up and how it is being combined with For the People to maybe have an effect that is a bit too strong because the killer is sort of put in a lose-lose scenario. It might be even an unintended interaction considering For the People doesn't work with another similar perk that grants endurance made for this. So I'm not sure why it would work for one, not for the other. And also, if you compare it to other similar perks like We're Gonna Live Forever and Soul Guard, it just seems significantly stronger than both of those, rendering them kind of obsolete. So I think it might be a little too much going on here. But Buckle Up itself is fine. Buckle Up doesn't really have anything that's overpowered with it. Basically, what it does is it grants you a large amount of endurance to both you and the person that you're picking up, as long as you pick them up from the dying state. Now, it does work with For the People because with For the People, you can give someone a health state at expense of your own, so you both become injured, but if you both have endurance, well, now you're in the scenario where the killer can't hit either of you. If they do, you both get away. And so, is this overpowered or not? It's a little confusing because it seems like in solo queue, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. You're not going to have to worry about that as killer when you're going against solo queue. But then again, as killer, that's typically the games that you're not going to have to worry about anyway. It's the games you have to worry about when you have coordinated teams, and that is where this becomes actually pretty uncounterable. So here's the actual scenario. You're chasing somebody. They're about to go down. Their teammate is nearby. Now you down that person, and then before you're done wiping your blade and your attack cooldown is done, the other person comes up and picks them back up, and now they both have endurance for 10 seconds, and there's nothing the killer can do to really stop that. You typically don't want to hit them because they're going to get a speed boost and still live, so you try to wait it out for 10 seconds, but typically finding a window or pallet in 10 seconds is not that crazy. In endgame scenarios, it makes it so you essentially just can't down the person ever. They're just going to escape. And it really does feel like it's a lose-lose scenario. There's nothing the killer can do to win. I tried thinking of ways to counter that. Now, the thing is, to use For the People, you have to be healthy. And so if you see a teammate following someone you're about to down, you might think, okay, well, I can turn around and smack that guy. Now we can't use For the People anymore. But now you've turned around. Now the other guy's gotten away, and now you're not getting a down on either of them. So it's still a losing scenario for the killer where you were about to get it down, but now at most you just get an injure instead. So even in that scenario, when you're aware of what's happening, it's not like a flashlight save where you can see the teammate, down the person, and still play around it. It's to the point where you can know what's happening and you still can't really do anything to stop it from happening. And that's the important part. Again, for solo queue, you're probably not going to have that much coordination. You're not going to have a teammate perfectly following you and is right in range right before you die. So when you're going against solo queue, it's not really going to be a big deal. But again, that's not who you're worried about. When you're playing killer, you're worried about more coordinated teams who can make a lot of use out of this. And it's always compared to things like, Buckle Up and Sabo squads and Breakout and Survive with Friend teams doing particularly annoying strats and things like that. But this seems a bit stronger than those because those are, in my opinion, way more situational than the conditional of I go down, I get hit by the killer. That's not a very complicated scenario to get, and it's going to happen basically every game. And unlike We're Gonna Live Forever, which has a similar 10-second endurance effect that only applies to the person you pick up, you don't need a token for it or anything like that. It just happens. Now, We're Gonna Live Forever also has the upside of making you heal people from the dying state faster, but it has no synergy with For the People, and so it wasn't really a problem because why would the whole point of We're Gonna Live Forever is that you can pick people up from the dying state significantly faster, and it's kind of redundant with picking them up instantly when you can do it 100% faster. So it's the fact that it works with both of these things, For the People and Buckle Up, together, and that is the thing that makes it a little too strong in my opinion. I think it's a really easy fix. All you have to do is make the endurance just last a bit less time, like 6 seconds or something, just so if they're at a tile or a jungle gym or something like that, they can still have something to do. But at least if they go down in the middle of nowhere, they don't have 40 meters, because for 10 seconds they can travel 40 meters. You're going to be able to get to a pallet. It really is just a numbers game, in my opinion. I think all you need is a duration nerf to the actual endurance, so the killer has a chance of waiting it out, and that way there's some correct winning option for the killer there. Now, there is the counter argument of the opportunity cost of doing this. The opportunity cost is, well, you have someone following in a chase, and it's like, well, they can't be doing generators, so you're actually cutting down gen efficiency by 25%, which is pretty decent as well, because you're occupying 2 people. But even then, it just requires 2 people. It's almost like having a guaranteed flashlight save. I don't care about people following me with a flashlight when I'm chasing someone because I know they're not going to be able to get a save as long as I'm paying attention. With this, though, even if I'm aware of it, I still can't do anything to stop it. And even whether or not it's strong or not strong or weak or overpowered, underpowered, whatever, it's not a good game design to put a player in a scenario where there's nothing they can do even though they're kind of doing everything correct there. I'm about to down a survivor, but there's no outcome in which I come out on top. I'm always going to lose that scenario. Again, even if it takes 2 people to do it, and even if it's not overpowered, in my opinion, that's still not great game design where I have no more options. At least if we reduce the endurance by a few seconds, there would be some options if they do it in a dead zone. Then I could probably down them by just waiting it out or something like that. That wouldn't be as bad. But yeah, right now, as it stands, I think the endurance lasts a bit too long. It lasts longer than Soul Guard. It lasts as long as We're Gonna Live Forever, but it does not require a token to set it up. It seems like it's just better than all of those perks with no downside whatsoever, and the fact it can be combined with For the People maybe makes it slightly overtuned. I can imagine that inexperienced players would get extremely frustrated about. Hell, I can get frustrated by it because that feeling of not being able to do anything about it is very annoying. All you can do is hit the guy chasing you instead, but now you've not downed 2 people. Now you just have 2 injured people instead. So it's certainly a huge momentum killer. Way too strong at the end of the game. I don't mind interesting perk combinations like this, so I still want the combo to exist. I just want it to be slightly more counterable by reducing the endurance time by a few seconds, and I think that would mostly address the issues of it. Because then, at least in an end game scenario, if they're running to the exit gate, you can hopefully just keep up with them and actually, you're still going to be an attack cooldown animation, but at least you can maybe just get them before they get to the exit gate or something like that. So that's it. I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts. I'm not really going to complain if it doesn't get changed. It's whatever. I do think it needs a slight nerf, but if it doesn't, it's not that big of a deal either. So curious to hear what you guys think. Thanks for watching. See you next time.